This free hypnosis lesson is part of a series of 6. If you'd like to download all 6 hypnosis lessons completely free of charge, please go to freehypnosislessons.com.
Hi there, my name is Stephen Hall and welcome to your first hypnotic lesson. In this lesson we're going to get all of the preparation work out of the way so that we can actually begin hypnotising people as soon as possible. So first off, we need to answer the question, what is hypnosis? Now hypnosis is very simply an altered state of consciousness. There's nothing mysterious or magical about it, and we all drift in and out of trance many times a day without even realising that it's happening. The thing that makes hypnosis special is that when a person is in the hypnotic state, it's possible to communicate directly with their subconscious mind. Now the subconscious mind doesn't critique or reason in the same way that the conscious mind does. It simply accepts the suggestions it receives. So to give you an example, if you tell a person that's in a fully waking state of consciousness that they're a ballerina, they'll compare this to what they already know to be true. And then, unless of course it is true, they'll simply dismiss it and they'll tell you that you're wrong. However, if they're in the hypnotic state, your suggestion will bypass this conscious reasoning process. It'll go straight to their subconscious mind where they'll accept it and they'll act upon it. Now if this is in a stage hypnotic environment, this usually results in the person proving your suggestion by pirouetting across the stage. Now it doesn't matter if we're talking about stage hypnosis or hypnotherapy, all forms of hypnosis are possible because of this ability to communicate directly with the subconscious mind while in the trance state. Now as you begin using hypnosis, the people that you practice on will already have preconceived ideas about trance. There are many misconceptions about trance, and if you don't address them up front, you can very easily sabotage the entire session. So first off, one of the most commonly believed misconceptions is that hypnosis is the same as sleep. Now when you are hypnotised, you can hear everything that the hypnotist says. You don't fall asleep and you don't lose consciousness. You may appear to be sleeping to onlookers, but this is simply because you're in a deep state of relaxation. Now the second most commonly believed misconception about trance is the idea that it's somehow possible to get stuck in hypnosis. Now this one's really important. If a person believes they can become stuck, they'll very probably resist entering trance in the first place. If I was to hypnotise you and then sneak away, you'll either wake up immediately when you notice that connection's been broken, or you'll wake up after a few minutes when you become bored or uncomfortable, or if you're particularly tired, then you'll fall into a normal state of sleep and you'll wake once you've been rested. Now without the hypnotist's help, it's actually very difficult to maintain a trance state for any period of time. Think of hypnosis like a form of meditation. It requires practice, and without direction, it's very easy to accidentally fall asleep or drift back to normal waking consciousness. Now a hypnotist also can't make you do anything. You're ultimately in control. If you're not happy with a suggestion, you can simply refuse to do it. Similarly, a hypnotist can't probe inside and reveal your deepest, darkest secrets. Now you may have seen a TV show recently where a hypnotist does appear to do this, but please do bear in mind that the volunteers know that the hypnotist is going to be probing, and if they didn't want those secrets revealed, they wouldn't have volunteered for the show. Now a point that we do need to consider here is the concept of shifting responsibility. There are probably many things that you'd like to do, but you know that you shouldn't because they're wrong. So if I asked you to do them in a normal waking state of consciousness, you'd simply refuse. But if I hypnotised you first, you might decide to follow my suggestions in the security of knowing that you can blame me for your actions if necessary. Now this is always worth bearing in mind when you're giving suggestions to people. Only make suggestions that are acting for everybody's greater good. If it's something they shouldn't do or shouldn't be done, then simply don't suggest it in the first place. Now very recently, Derren Brown shifted the public perception on what it's possible to get a person to do using mind-controlled techniques. He did this in a very controversial experiment where he used a variety of techniques that culminated in several perfectly law-abiding citizens robbing a security van at gunpoint. Now it's worth considering that he wasn't simply using hypnosis. He was using a combination of techniques that have a very powerful and accumulative effect. The simple truth is that you can make a person do something that they don't want to. Politicians and salesmen do this all the time. However, you would need to employ a combination of strategies to do so, and you'd need to be rather sly in the way that you go about it. If we're simply talking about direct suggestions given under hypnosis, then it is safe to say that you can't make a person do something that they strongly object to. Trance isn't exactly what it appears to be. A hypnotist doesn't hypnotise a person. They simply act as a guide and help that person so that they can hypnotise themselves. And in fact, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So as you learn how to hypnotise people, all that you're really doing is learning how to help that person to hypnotise themselves. So it's a very cooperative process. The trance process has some very specific stages, and you need to learn each of these if you're going to make it as a hypnotist. Now first off, we have the Pre Hypnotic Talk. This is very often overlooked, but it is profoundly important. This is the informal chat that you have with your client before any trance work begins, and if you're on the stage, it's everything that you do or say while you're getting your volunteers. Next we have the actual induction process, and there are lots of ways that you can do this, and many of them are much simpler than you can possibly imagine. After the induction process, we lead straight into the trance deepener, and next comes the important part, and this is what you choose to do with the trance state. You can, if you like, use the trance state for therapy or for entertainment on stage, or you can do something a little bit more exotic, like discovering past lives. Once the trance has served its purpose, you can make a few post-hypnotic suggestions, and then you'll close the session by waking the client. Over the next few lessons, you'll learn each stage in turn, so before the end of this week, you'll be able to unleash your newfound skills on your friends and family. So it's a good idea to start being especially nice to them, because you will need volunteers. In lesson number 2, we're going to be looking at one of the most fascinating sides of hypnosis, and this is the hypnotic language patterns. We're going to be talking about embedding commands, and you're going to have a lot of fun practicing them. For now, all it leaves me to say is welcome to these hypnotic lessons. I'll be meeting you again in lesson 2. But please do go back over this one as many times as you need to. There's a lot of questions that are answered in this lesson, and the people that you'll be hypnotising will be asking those questions. So I'll see you in lesson 2 when you're ready, and you take care until then. Bye bye.
This free hypnosis lesson is part of a series of 6. If you'd like to download all 6 hypnosis lessons completely free of charge, please go to freehypnosislessons.com.